Let me start with something honest, something most people don't talk about. At 67, I lie awake some nights, staring at the ceiling, thinking about my life in ways I never did when I was younger. My mornings are slower now, my evenings longer. The world races past, but I no longer feel the need to chase it. I'm not afraid of dying. What keeps me awake is something else. The understanding that I missed chances, ignored signs, and made quiet mistakes that shaped my life more than I ever realized. When I was younger, I believed life was defined by big, obvious moments: career promotions, weddings, major achievements. I thought those were the milestones that mattered. I was wrong. Life isn't made up of dramatic events. It's shaped by the small, quiet choices we delay, ignore, or assume won't matter. Those tiny decisions whisper over the years and quietly determine the life we live tomorrow. In my 30s, time seemed endless. I thought there would always be another chance, another opportunity. Miss a family dinner? There will be another next week. Skip a doctor's visit? Next year will do. Postpone a difficult conversation? Better to avoid unnecessary conflict. I wasn't careless. I was comfortable. And comfort is tricky. It doesn't feel dangerous, so you continue blindly, assuming everything is under control. Time doesn't give warnings. It doesn't interrupt you or scold. It quietly passes while you're distracted, keeping score. Years pass, parents age, children grow, and suddenly you realize life has moved on without your notice. Opportunities missed, words unsaid, moments unattended, those quietly accumulate into a life that feels smaller than you expected. I didn't notice it then, but now I see how quickly comfort can trick you into thinking you're safe when you're slowly drifting away from what matters. Regret rarely arrives with fireworks. My first real regret came gently, almost imperceptibly, like a soft knock on the door of my consciousness. I missed my father's last healthy years, not because I didn't care, but because I was busy. Work, responsibilities, life on autopilot. I told myself I would spend time with him later. I thought there would always be another day. When later finally arrived, he was slower, quieter, less engaged. Conversations became short and clipped. The chance to simply sit together and talk had passed. That regret didn't hit sharply. It lingered, a dull ache I could ignore. And because it was easy to ignore, I didn't change. That was my first mistake. The quiet moments I postponed then became memories I could no longer touch. I learned too late that small delays often have the largest cost. Nobody warns you about comfort. They warn about failure, poverty, and loneliness. But comfort quietly narrows your life, almost imperceptibly. Routine feels permanent. Fine begins to feel enough. And if you're not careful, you wake one day realizing you've drifted far from yourself. My life didn't collapse dramatically. It faded. I stopped challenging myself. I stopped asking hard questions. I accepted predictability and mistook it for peace. Only later did I realize how much of myself I had quietly set aside. Comfort, I learned, lulls you into thinking everything is safe when it's quietly eroding the richness of your life. Days blur together, opportunities slip past, and the person you used to be, the one with curiosity, courage, and energy, fades almost without notice. Every morning I told myself the same lie. Tomorrow, I'll do better. Tomorrow, I would exercise. Tomorrow, I would call a friend. Tomorrow, I would face a difficult truth or mend a relationship. But tomorrow never came. Only today exists, and I kept pushing the important things into a future that didn't arrive on schedule. Days became weeks, weeks became months, months became years, and those small delays added up. Failure can be forgiven. Wasted time is much harder to face. When you finally notice it, the years you postponed start to feel heavier than any failure could ever be. I spent decades believing I had time to fix things, thinking the future would compensate for the choices I avoided. It doesn't. Only the present exists, and that is where change must begin. From the outside, My life looked like success. I had a steady career, financial stability, and respect. Goals were achieved, responsibilities met. But success is not the same as fulfillment. It looks impressive on paper, but alone, in quiet moments, it feels hollow. I traded presence for progress, evenings for earnings, and connection for accomplishments. I assumed I could restore balance later. I could not. Money can replace comfort, but it cannot replace time, trust, or health. The quiet moments that matter most, simple conversations, shared experiences, daily attentions, cannot be bought or reclaimed once lost. And in my quiet evenings, I realize that the cost of success without presence is emptiness. Your body keeps track of neglect, every ignored ache, every skipped walk, every season of overwork. Youth absorbs it silently. Later, it speaks loudly. Knees ache, sleep falters. Doctors stop reassuring and begin advising, if only you had come earlier. If only you had changed sooner. There is no rewind, no undo button, only consequence. The earlier you act, the gentler your body is on you. I learned that health is not something to trade for work or comfort. It is the foundation upon which every meaningful life is built. Every small neglect compounds silently, and one day you wake up and realize your body has been keeping a ledger, patiently waiting for you to notice. Most losses in life are quiet, not sudden, not dramatic. Calls grow less frequent, conversations shorter, presence fades. I assumed the people who mattered would always be there. I didn't realize that closeness requires attention, consistent, intentional effort. Loneliness in later years doesn't happen overnight. It builds quietly, one ignored moment at a time. There was one evening I will never forget. I sat alone, the television on low, when I realized no one needed me in that moment, not urgently, not deeply. That moment wasn't painful. It was honest. I had chosen ease over engagement, comfort over connection. And this, I realized, is the quiet consequence of delayed attention. If I could start again, I would embrace discomfort sooner, speak sooner, act sooner, care for my health seriously. I would stop trying to appear successful and start trying to live peacefully. I would spend time where it matters, not just where it pays. I would face difficult conversations early, act instead of waiting, and remember that the small moments attended to daily are what shape a life. The emails, the calls, the walks, the quiet attentions, all of them matter more than we realize until it's too late. I would not postpone the things that create real connection, fulfillment, and meaning. Here's a truth most people do not want to hear. No one is coming to rescue you from neglect. Waiting is a choice. Avoiding is a choice. Every choice carries a cost. Most regrets do not come from failure. They come from delay. If you are younger than 60, consider yourself wealthy. Time is your greatest resource. Spend it wisely, speak honestly, care for your body, tend your relationships. Do not assume later will cooperate. Life rarely collapses suddenly. It erodes quietly, and by the time erosion becomes visible, repair is costly and often painful. I cannot change my past, but perhaps you can shape your future. If these words make you uncomfortable, good. Discomfort often signals awareness. Listen to it. Act on it. Your future self will thank you. Time listens too, and it remembers everything. The choices you make or postpone shape the life you will live tomorrow.